The grave that was never silent. The cemetery was quiet, the kind of quiet that pressed against the chest and made breathing feel heavier than usual. Ethan Blackwood stepped out of his car slowly. The driver immediately opened an umbrella, but Ethan waved him away. "No," he said softly. "I'll walk." At 62, Ethan Blackwood was still a powerful figure. Billionaire. Media tycoon. A man whose name made boardrooms silent. But here, none of that mattered. Here, he was just a father. He adjusted his black coat and walked along the stone path he knew too well. Every step felt familiar and painful. He came here once every year. Same date. Same flowers. Same unbearable silence. Until today. He stopped. There were two small figures kneeling at the grave. Children. Ethan frowned slightly. This was his son's private plot. Hardly anyone even knew it existed. Yet there they were, two little girls, maybe 6 or 7 years old. They were identical. Same chestnut hair tied into simple ponytails. Same pale dresses. Same tiny hands folded in prayer. And they were whispering. "For Uncle Daniel, please keep him warm in heaven," one murmured. "Please tell him we didn't forget him," the other added. Ethan's heart skipped. Uncle Daniel? His son's name. The flowers he had ordered were already placed neatly at the grave. Someone had beaten him here. Who are you?" Ethan asked, his voice rough. The twins looked up together. Not startled. Not afraid. Just calm. "You're his daddy," one of them said gently. Ethan felt the ground sway. "How do you know that?" he demanded. The girl smiled sadly. "Because he talks about you." Ethan's knees nearly buckled. "My son is dead," he whispered. "He doesn't talk to anyone." The twins stood up. One of them stepped closer and placed a small white flower on the gravestone. "He talks to us," she said. Ethan Blackwood, the man who had faced billion-dollar losses without blinking, felt his chest tighten like it was being crushed. "Who taught you his name?" he asked, struggling to stay upright. "No one," the second twin replied. "He taught us." A cold wind passed through the cemetery. Ethan grabbed the edge of the stone cross to steady himself. "This isn't funny," he said, his voice breaking. "If someone sent you here." "We come every week," the first girl interrupted softly. "Because he saved us." Ethan's vision blurred. "Saved you? How?" The girls exchanged a look, the kind only twins share. "He died so we could live." The world went silent. Ethan collapsed. Not dramatically. Not loudly. Just fell. The driver shouted and rushed forward, but Ethan barely heard him. His mind was screaming. What did they just say? When he finally looked up again, the twins were kneeling beside him, holding his trembling hands with surprising warmth. "You cry like Uncle Daniel did," one of them whispered. Ethan let out a broken sound. "My son never had children," he said hoarsely. The girls shook their heads. "He wanted to," the other replied. Tears streamed freely now. "Then, who are you?" The twins answered together. "We're the reason he never came home." The day Daniel never came home. Ethan woke up to the smell of antiseptic and the low hum of hospital machines. For a moment, he thought he was back in that terrible year, the year his son died. Then he felt it. Two small hands gripping his. "You fainted," a soft voice said. Ethan turned his head. The twins were sitting beside his hospital bed, feet dangling, faces pale but calm. A nurse stood nearby, watching them with curiosity and concern. "You shouldn't have let them stay," Ethan muttered weakly. "They refused to leave," the nurse replied gently. "They said you'd wake up scared." Ethan swallowed hard. "What are your names?" he asked. "I'm Lily," said the girl on the left. "I'm Lucy," said the other, smiling faintly. "Where are your parents?" Ethan asked. The smile faded. Lucy looked down. Our mother died when we were born. Ethan's chest tightened. And your father? Lily hesitated. Then she spoke slowly. We never met him. Silence filled the room. Ethan closed his eyes. Tell me, he whispered. Everything. From the beginning. The story the billionaire never knew. 7 years ago. It was raining the night Daniel Blackwood died. Ethan remembered that much too clearly. Daniel had called him that evening. Dad, I'll be late. There's someone I need to help. Ethan had sighed, distracted by a board meeting. Be careful. We'll talk tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. But now, Lily and Lucy were telling a different version of that night. Our mother was named Maria, Lily began. She worked at a small clinic near the highway. Lucy continued, her voice steady despite the weight of the memory. She was pregnant with us. Very sick. The clinic didn't have the right equipment. That night, Maria collapsed outside the clinic. Cars passed. No one stopped. Until one did. A man ran to her, Lucy said. He took off his coat and wrapped it around her. Ethan's breath caught. Daniel always carried a dark wool coat. He called for help, Lily whispered. He argued with the ambulance dispatcher. He begged them to hurry. Ethan's hands began to shake. He stayed with her, Lucy said. He held her hand and told her she wasn't alone. Tears spilled freely now. The doctor said she needed surgery immediately, Lily continued. But the storm flooded the road. The hospital was too far. So he drove, Lucy said. Ethan's heart pounded. He drove fast, Lily added. Too fast. The accident flashed in Ethan's mind: twisted metal, rain-soaked asphalt, police lights. The car crashed, Lucy said softly. But the ambulance made it. Ethan let out a broken sob. Our mother survived long enough to give birth to us, Lily said. She named us after him. Ethan looked up sharply. Daniel, Lucy said. He was our father in every way that mattered. Ethan collapsed back against the pillows, chest heaving. My son, he whispered. He never told me. Lily nodded sadly. He said you were always busy. The words hit harder than any accusation. The letter that changed everything. There's more, Lucy said. She reached into a small backpack and pulled out a folded envelope, yellowed with time. This was with our mother's things. Ethan's hands trembled as he opened it. Daniel's handwriting stared back at him. Dad. If you're reading this, I didn't make it. Please don't blame yourself. I finally did something that mattered. I saved 2 lives today. Please forgive me for not being the son you wanted, but I hope I was the man you raised. Take care of them if you ever meet them. They're my miracle. Daniel. Ethan let out a cry that came from somewhere deep and shattered. I failed him, he sobbed. I failed my own son. Lily climbed onto the bed and hugged him. He never thought that, she said softly. He loved you. Lucy nodded. He said you just didn't know how to stop being strong. Ethan clutched them both, weeping openly. For the first time in decades, the billionaire did not hide his tears. A promise at the grave. That afternoon, Ethan returned to the cemetery. This time, he didn't go alone. Lily and Lucy stood beside him, each holding a bouquet of white lilies. Ethan knelt before the gravestone. I'm sorry, son, he whispered. I see you now. The wind rustled the trees gently, almost like a reply. Ethan stood and turned to the twins. You don't belong in foster homes, he said firmly. You belong with family. The girls froze. Are you saying? Lucy asked. Ethan knelt again, this time in front of them. I want to adopt you, he said. If you'll let an old man learn how to be a father, again. Lily burst into tears. Lucy nodded through sobs. Yes, they said together. Years later, the Blackwood Foundation funded free emergency clinics across the country. At the entrance of the first one stood a plaque. In memory of Daniel Blackwood, who stopped when others drove past. And every Sunday, a billionaire and two little girls visited a grave that was no longer silent. Because love never dies.